Good morning. It's Sunday again. And what a wonderful week it's been, hasn't it? With wall to wall sunshine, a bit chilly in the wind, but absolutely glorious. And all those wonderful trees out with the blossom on them. Just wonderful. Isn't our God a most wonderful, creative God? I drink his water to him. I've got a bit of dry throat. Happy Sunday. So we come to 1 Corinthians chapter 14. It's having divided his chapters about how the church should function with the wonderful chapter about love. He has emphasized how important love is and how transitory and temporary every other spiritual gift is. And that is something we have to really be grounded in. But he goes on now into chapter 14 by starting with having said the greatest of these, of faith, hope and love. The greatest of these is love. His first verse of 14, and remember, when it was written, there were no chapter divisions. So it would have read, so faith, hope, love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love. Make love your aim and earnestly desire the spiritual gifts, especially that you may prophesy. And I would encourage you to read the next verses right down to verse 25, which is all about the difference between speaking in tongues and giving a prophecy or speaking in a known language. And he, in the course of this, supports both. He is not against speaking in tongues, but he is against speaking in tongues in meetings when no one can understand what you're saying. When you're praying privately, speaking in tongues is the most wonderfully edifying and uplifting thing and helpful thing, especially when you don't know how to pray about a particular situation. Speaking in tongues, praying in tongues is great. But when you're in a meeting together, unless there is someone who you know will be able to interpret the tongue you speak, you shouldn't use it in public, addressing the entire church group. You should make it your aim to be able to use prophecy, to say things that others can understand. So he says we should be building people up and encouraging them and consoling them. That's what prophecy is about. It's about encouraging, about keeping each other going in the walk of faith. And the Lord knows we all need that. We all need words of encouragement from each other to keep going. There's a sense in which we do always sympathise, and we're meant to sympathise and empathise with those who are going through difficulties, but it is not the best thing to only give sympathy. We should always give spiritual encouragement to help the person who's feeling low and feeling they're in the middle of a terribly difficult situation, to help them to look up, not down. And he does say that speaking in tongues is speaking mysteries in the Spirit. And some of those mysteries we will never understand. But we speak in tongues, and that is an exercise of faith. When we speak in tongues and when we give prophecies, we are uttering things through faith. We are trusting that what we say has come from God. It's a very, very interesting ministry. We're not talking about people who are prophets, who make sweeping statements. And I do know this last year or so, some of the most well-known Christian prophets and prophetesses, especially in America, spent a lot of time, first of all, prophesying against the COVID, prophesying I remember right at the beginning, we were getting emails because we do link with several charismatic leaders saying that the COVID crisis would be over by Easter, and that it would be done, over and done by last Easter. And then there were those who prophesied that Donald Trump would come into a second term. Some were even saying that people should not accept the result of the election in America. We have to be careful about prophecy. And we need to test it. We need to be careful. There's a lot of things we need to do about prophecy, but Paul is saying simply here, the principle is that when we are worshipping together, speaking in tongues out loud to everybody is not worth a great deal, because the people you're speaking to cannot understand what you're saying. And the whole purpose of meeting together is to help one another continue our work with the Lord and our walk with him. So do read the whole chapter if you get a chance. Do read the whole chapter, because we'll look at the second half of the chapter tomorrow. So make love your aim and earnestly desire the spiritual gifts, especially that you may prophesy. But bear in mind all that he said in chapter 13 of how, compared to love, all the spiritual gifts are worth nothing if they are exercised without love. Love has to be the baseline from which we function. Have a great day. I hope you're going to get into fellowship with someone somewhere. Have a great day. Be very blessed. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.